Hey everyone, thanks for listening to the Western Hunting Hub podcast. This intro is being recorded again in my F-250 pickup in the middle of January in South Dakota. And you saw Dray's post a little while back. All I want for Christmas is a recording studio, and that hasn't happened yet. So you may see a lot more episodes from Dray here as she picks up the slack on this team, and this episode is no different. So appreciative of her and some of the awesome interviews that she's getting. This one is with the Rocky Mountain Sportswomen's group. They are a good group of women that have been getting out together and teaching and learning and sharing in some fellowship together. So you'll hear about that group in this episode. Dray and I have some other things coming up that I don't want to disclose too terrible much about, but a fun thing. So we will release that this week. And so stay tuned for that. If you're listening back some old episodes, it wasn't this week. It was another week. So, but for the month of January 2021, we'll have a thing going on there. So stay tuned. There's my little hint dropped. But we have a great episode with Rocky Mountain Sportswomen. Thanks for listening.
And with me tonight, I have the ladies of Rocky Mountain Sportswomen, Elena and Jamie. And I'm going to let them go ahead and introduce themselves, tell us a little bit about who they are and how they kind of got to where they are right now. So we'll start out with the founder, Elena. Go ahead and tell us your story.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Dray. I'm super excited for your adventures with this podcast and us kind of being a little bit part of it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we'll start. I guess I did not grow up hunting. Did a little bit of fishing in my day, in college, was getting into fly fishing just a little bit. Didn't really know much about hunting. I wasn't exposed to it. I was always an outdoors person, an animal lover, but never really was exposed to hunting. And then when I moved to Colorado a few years ago, I met my partner, Jesse, who's born and bred hunter in Missouri, whitetail and turkey hunting. And the year I met him, he had just gotten an elk, which was really cool because he was like feeding the whole neighborhood, all of our friends, and we were kind of starting to fall in love, and he kind of showed me some really awesome recipes, and it just kind of opened my mind up to what hunting really was. I never really thought in depth about the food part, and then I learned a lot more about the conservation aspect of it all, which has been, I think that was the big turning point for me to actually be more interested in actually being a part of it and wanting to pull the trigger myself, because when I first met him, I thought it was cool and I appreciated it, but I didn't think that I could actually do it myself. And then just learning more about the conservation aspect and the funding that goes behind it and the active, public land access and everything going on with that, I kind of just was more intrigued by it and had learned. And I was really surprised that I didn't know more about that to begin with. And then I would hear his stories. He'd come back from elk hunting and tell me these amazing interactions, and I would get goosebumps thinking about me being in that position. And so we lived back in Missouri for a few months with his parents, or with his dad, and all they would talk about was whitetail hunting. And I kind of just got done being on the sidelines and was like, okay, I think I could do this. And got my hunter safety in Missouri and sat in a deer stand for the last day of the season just to be a part of it. And then ended up going turkey hunting and killed my very first animal, which was a big tom in Missouri, and it was amazing. And I just suddenly had this experience that changed my whole life. And then we moved back to Colorado, and archery season's coming up, and I wasn't quite ready for the big game scene yet, but I did get to help Jesse pack out an elk, which was my first experience really handling a dead animal, like a large dead animal in the field, and I was a part of it. I got to help pack out the meat, and I learned a ton. And then the next year I was like, okay, it's gonna be my turn, I'm ready. And amongst that, I was just kind of meeting a couple other women that were getting into hunting because of their spouses, and I just kind of thought it would be cool to learn with other women. And I'd gotten into fishing quite a bit, like ice fishing and even just with the spin rod during this time as well, and made some fishing friends and just kind of kept coming up with random ideas of how cool it would be to have like a girls club where we could just learn together and go shoot together, and maybe we could team up with Colorado Parks and Wildlife and they can teach us about ice fishing, like all these random thoughts would come into my head, and the more I talked about it with people, the more encouragement I got to do it, because there's nothing like it in the area. And I think 2019 New Year's had hit, and I had just had the motivation. I'd already had like a whole document of just random ideas of how I could actually make this happen, and came up with the name Rocky Mountain Sportswomen, and launched a website, created a Facebook group. I created a Routt County private group and kind of just invited a bunch of Routt County ladies that were responding to some polls I had created, and in hopes to meet someone who would be more interested in helping me, because I knew I couldn't do it on my own. There's so much that I wanted to do, and it was just too much for one person on top of having a full-time job and being a mom. Like, I knew that I wanted this to be a nonprofit, and I knew it was going to take a lot of work. And then that's when I met Jamie through a mutual friend. She, kind of stepped in at the right time and was super interested in helping out and wanted to be a part of it, and I was stoked because it was exactly what I was looking for, and it was the right time. And and so Rocky Mountain Sportswomen kind of started, and since then it's we've been a couple years deep and accomplished a lot. Like, I don't know, I feel bigger than we are. It's pretty cool. And Rocky Mountain Sportswomen has also encouraged just the idea of it, and having the women that I've met now has brought me more motivated, and I really understand now that hunting is a part of me, and it's become something that I feel like was missing my whole life. Like, back in college I did a wilderness leadership program, and I loved everything that we did. We did kayaking, we did rock climbing, we did backpacking, canoeing, we did all kinds of things, and I was super interested in all of it. And I moved out to Colorado to come snowboarding. Like, I didn't have that one outdoor pursuit that I was going to commit my life to, commit my funding to, buy gear for. I was just kind of dabbled a little bit in everything until I found hunting, and then also fly fishing and ice fishing now. That has become my thing, and it's not just me, but it's also with Jessie. Like, we get to do it together, and we get to show Ellie, our daughter, and of course now I have some amazing friends to share that with as well. And it's kind of been the unexpected gift in my
lifestyle change.
Exactly. And I think for me too, it's like I've developed more of a connection to the outdoors that I already had, but I've been enlightened in a new light in being out there, not just to enjoy it, but just to be a part of it, which I think was a huge turning point for me.
It's a huge connection that hunters and fishers and gatherers especially all share. It's almost impossible to explain in a very short paragraph the experiences that we have when we're out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So a lot of people always ask, like, oh, why do you hunt? Or like, why'd you join this group? Like, why'd you become an ambassador for Rocky Mountain Sportswomen? It's like, there's so many reasons.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's what I try to wrap my head around. I'm like, why do I hunt? And it's like, there's a million reasons why I hunt. It's one, I mean, food is a huge part of it. Like, I'm in love with the food, and it's nice to just have a variety in the freezer that we can just cook up any way we want, anytime. And it's just, I've built that connection, and it's really cool to share that with other women and learning alongside other women, and also creating opportunities for women who might not have that opportunity to begin with. So, it's been an amazing ride, and I'm ready to see.
You're crushing it.
The next outcome.
You're crushing it. And so you met Jamie, and obviously brought her on as the co-founder. Yeah,
she was, her motivation was right there next to mine, so I was stoked, and we clicked very well. So it's a good turning point where we can talk about Jamie now.
Yeah. Dun dun dun, we have Jamie, the primal cowgirl.
First, Jaya, we're so excited to have you on our team. and as an ambassador for Rocky Mountain Sportswomen. So I'm super excited about that. But as far as me, I grew up in northern New York. I did not grow up hunting and fishing. I didn't really even grow up around hunting at all, fishing a little bit. I grew up on the St. Lawrence Seaway, so big pike bass fishing area, perch. And I dabbled in it a little bit here and there, but never really had anybody to kind of teach me anything. And went off to college, and I came back and was going to the community college at home and made some friends there that were so passionate about the outdoors. They were all outdoorsmen, and I remember just, going to parties and hanging out with them. We'd just all be hanging out, and all of a sudden, one would quack, and all of a sudden there's a chorus of duck calls, and it just was mayhem, and they would always talk about their duck hunting stories and turkey hunting stories, and it was really the turkey hunting stories that piqued my interest the most. And so the more I listened to it, the more I was like, I want to try this. And so I kind of begged them to take me. And I had a good friend that ended up taking me with some friends of hers for my first turkey hunt. And it was an insane hunt, absolutely crazy story. I think we harvested 5 or 6 turkeys that day.
Wow.
Between several of us.
Action-packed, yeah.
Tags for them all. But it was a crazy day, and actually you can read about that story on our Rocky Mountain Sportswomen blog. But after that, I definitely, it piqued my interest more. I wanted to learn more. I loved being out there. But it wasn't really until I had met a man that was super passionate about the outdoors, and I'd come home and the Outdoor Channel was always on the TV. We were always listening to things, and I remember watching hunting shows with different women on them, and it was kind of like when they were first coming out with women on hunting shows, and he was like, "That could be you." And I was like, I don't know. I don't know, but we would drive around his family's property and check trail cameras and food plots and just kind of scout out where the deer were, and he took me duck hunting for the first time, and it wasn't really the hunting aspect that I fell in love with. It was, or the meat, actually. Shocker, I was a vegetarian at the time. I'm not now. But it was really just being in nature. And I think the things that I remember most is just turkey season, when the grouse are actually in heat and you're sitting there in the morning and the sun's rising up, and it's burning off all of the frost, and the forest is just slowly waking up, and you start to hear squirrels rustling and birds chirping, and you hear the drumming of the grouse. I always relate it to a bouncy ball. A bouncy ball is like ding ding ding, 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 ding. You hear the grouse. It's just such cool sounds. Just sitting there and listening to the forest. Yeah. Oh, and then you hear a turkey. The
yeah.
And then you hear a turkey. And so I was, it was really the time that I spent with him in the woods that really just got me hooked.
Yeah.
And I've always loved animals, and it was just another way to experience them. And so then I moved to Colorado, and I was super intrigued about hunting out here. I'd, always on the Outdoor Channel again, I was seeing mule deer hunts and elk hunts, but I came out here and was so intimidated. The mountains are a scary place. Mm-hmm. I didn't grow up camping. I didn't grow up doing any of those things. I had no survival skills. And I was super intimidated to hunt here, but I dreamed of it every day. And I remember just seeing these massive mule deer pretty much right outside my door when I first moved to Fort Collins. And I was in awe everywhere I drove. And I moved to Steamboat Springs, and it wasn't until almost 2 years after I'd lived here that I started working at Dell's Triangle 3 and packing for them. And so I started, packing elk camps in and helping set them up and take them down and occasionally pack an elk out. And I would sit there and I would pick my boss's brain just over and over and over with so many questions. We'd be riding in and I'd just, it'd be a couple hour ride, and I'd just ask him question after question. And think he got a little, maybe got annoyed with me, I don't know, but he always answered them so thoroughly, and I learned so much. I've learned so much from him. So I learned so much from him, and so in doing that, I was, gaining a little bit of confidence to go try it on my own, but I didn't, I was still very hesitant to go out, and in the meantime, I came up with this idea where I thought I was going to start like a women's only gun club. That was kind of my thought. Like, I network of women that just like want to shoot together. And I didn't really think of it, as the full expanse as what Rocky Mountain Sportswomen is. But I, started playing with the idea and talking to a few different people. And that's when I talked to a mutual friend of Elena and I's, and she said, I think you need to meet my friend Elena. And so she introduced us. And I remember Elena came to my house one day to the ranch, and I was with her daughter, and I was in the barn, and we met then. And I was like, I'm in, I want to do this with you. And we had our first meet and greet, and after that I was like, Elena, like, I really,
this is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
I'm in. Yeah. I'm all in.
Yeah. That meet and greet was great, because we had 25 women show up. And we didn't know most of them.
Right.
I knew maybe 3 or 4 of them.
I knew a couple too, but not all of them.
And it was just really cool to see all of these women here in our local area that were interested in hunting or fishing or wanting to get into it or something. And they all took the leap to come out by themselves and meet a bunch of random women that they didn't know. Like, it was so cool.
Meet some like-minded women, absolutely.
Yeah, and it really kicked off Rocky Mountain Sportswomen.
Yeah, every event that we've had, I feel we have many new faces.
Totally.
And it's so exciting.
We get re-motivated after each event.
We do. There's new faces and old faces. There's so many people that return to new events. And
a lot of encouragement. And
support,
a lot of education along the way. Like, I mean, the navigation clinic, not a single, most of the women that came for that had never touched a compass before, and I thought it was really cool.
It's really this network of women that we've built that, it's a community of women that this past hunting season, I could feel it. Every day when I was hunting, I was out there on my own. I never felt that I was on my own, because I felt like if I got an elk down or I got in a sticky situation or something, I knew I had people to call. I knew that I had people I could call to help me should anything happen. And that gave me so much more confidence to be out there and doing it. And the stories that we've been able to tell each other and share with each other this season have been absolutely incredible, and I have never loved hunting more in my life.
I know. That's how I feel too, and I don't feel like, I don't know, maybe I wouldn't be so passionate and in love with it as I am now if I didn't have someone to be so passionate and in love with it with. Not only with Jessie, but, with, like, my best friends.
Yeah,
my
your
girlfriends
sisterhood,
who I talk to every single day. And it's really cool to share that,
I remember getting a text from you during hunting season. It was, like, the last few days left. And you're like, I called today, and I got a Boulder response. I was calling. I was talking with the bull. It was so great.
I took your advice, because I texted you the night before. It was the last day of archery season. Jesse and I have been playing with this bull. We didn't see him or hear him the second day, and I was like, all right, Dray, what would you do in this situation? And you were like, just get aggressive, like, rake that shit.
Rake those trees.
And it was cool. Yeah. Jesse just was kind of falling asleep, feeling super doubtful, and I was just like, it's the last day. There's I have nothing to lose here. And I let it out, raked really hard, let it out again, raked really hard, and then 2 seconds later, he ripped it off. I was just like,
so
it's the best feeling. Was that the first time
That was the first time I communicated with it. Well, I guess last year I did a couple cow calls that one had responded to, but that was the first time I bugled.
Yeah. Raking trees and...
I had done like a little bit of bugling, a little bit of raking here and there, but that was the first time I really felt confident enough to just let it rip, like just let it happen, like I'm in control here, like there's nothing stopping me, and it worked out really well. It was cool. I mean, it didn't work out well enough to where we got the bull, but
what is something you learned? What is something both of you learned this year during archery season, going out there?
Well,
I mean, there's so much, but is there something in particular?
I did write a whole blog on little lessons that I learned this season.
It's really good. Highly recommend checking it out.
So yeah,
it's on the
check
website,
it out,
right?
On our website. I think it's on both the Rocky Mountain Sportswomen website and my own personal.
Yeah, I shared it.
The Primal Cowgirl, right?
Yep, theprimalcowgirl.com.
Newly launched website, by the way. Congratulations, Jamie.
Thank you. Come get yourself a pair of bullet earrings.
Yes.
I don't have my ears pierced, but I am piercing them so I can wear Jamie's earrings.
You could probably do the magnets.
I think we could do
magnet ones.
I could make you magnet ones, or
let's just pierce them because all these birds that we're killing. I want to start making earrings.
You're gonna make some earrings.
We just need a needle and an apple and some fire,
some whiskey.
Yeah,
some whiskey.
So things you learned during archery season, like, was there anything in particular that just really stuck out and you had like a defining moment? You know, being fairly new to the big game world. I mean, we're always learning when we're out there, right?
Sure.
But especially when you're new, it seemed like there are certain situations that really stick out and you're like, oh, yeah. And I'm sure that day that bull was responding back to you.
Yeah, you know, those 3 days that Jesse and I went after it together, it was cool because that was the first time he and I have actually been able to elk hunt together, where we both have tags, we're both actively pursuing. Like, I've tagged along with him here and there in the past, and a lot of time, because we have the kid, well, she's in school now, which helped a lot this year, but because we had the kid, it would be either I'm going out solo or he's going out solo or with his buddies or whatever, you know, so it was great to actually have some time with him, and yeah, we learned so much together, and I feel like, gosh, I don't know, I think they're just so tricky. I don't know. There's so much that I learned this season. It's hard to kind of narrow it down to one thing.
It's a big year.
But that time in particular, I think that we learned... Gosh, I don't even know. You're going to have to edit this part out because it's really hard for me to wrap around like one main point, especially from those 4 days. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I could divide archery season up into different sections and different things I learned from different sections, you know, like between my bear hunt and me potentially pursuing some mule deer and then me, you know, actually seeing a mountain lion out there this year and then hunting by myself a lot and... Yeah, there's so much I learned. Like, I really do need to write a blog on it, too, because writing this kind of stuff out really helps me, like, organize all my thoughts.
And process it,
and process and reflect, totally.
Yeah, it's hard to pick any, like, one main point. I was out there, I think I hunted more than 20 days during archery season. I hiked over 170 miles this season.
Amazing.
So
I didn't count my miles.
Not getting an elk was not for a lack of trying.
Totally.
Just new to the game.
Yeah.
I was persistent, and with time, my time will come. You know, the more effort I put in, the more likely I am to reap the reward.
Absolutely. You're not going to get an elk sitting on the couch.
It's going to taste even better when I do.
This is why we do it, though, right? Because it brings us growth, and it challenges us, and it's difficult. Like, women like us, we don't do things that are easy.
No. Totally.
You know?
Totally.
And, you know, starting up this organization, Rocky Mountain Sportswomen, it's a lot of work. You know? It's a lot of work. There's a lot of pieces. There's a lot of events we want to plan. There's a lot of things we want to do. But there's a lot of logistics as well. Have you guys thought about bringing on more team members at all?
Yeah.
As well?
It's in the yeah, definitely. I mean,
we are currently in the works of really kind of finalizing exactly how we want the organization to be run before we really want to bring more people in.
Yeah. We want to do it right from the beginning, you know?
We want to do it right.
Our main focus is growth, you know? And, like, we want this to be potentially our full-time thing. We want it to grow to other states and to other parts of Colorado. But it's, like, it's so overwhelming sometimes because we both have our own passions of, you know, just being ourselves, getting time in
Having
the
a
field
life.
ourselves, me being a mom. Jamie's got a bunch of horses she loves and cares for, and we both have like full-time jobs, so it's like
Take care of a whole ranch.
yeah, totally. Yeah. It's like our lives are super busy as it is, and then on top, and Rocky Mountain Sportswomen is always on our mind, like every time I'm driving is when I come up with all of my ideas. Like, there's been a couple times I send you girls messages. I'm like, okay, this is what I'm thinking about right now.
It's just when it comes to me.
Yeah, no, totally. And then it's so hard to find enough time to get everything done. So we're getting to that point to where we need to think about what roles we need to be filled in order for us to continue to grow and to make it happen efficiently and properly.
And we just have so many ideas that it's time. It's a matter of time to. There's, we have literally hundreds of ideas, and they're just, it's going to take time. We can't have an event every weekend.
No, absolutely. And
even though we'd like to.
I know, for real. And it feels like we're so close to that point already. Like, I mean, we have, not just public events, but events for us that we're taking on to continue our growth and connections with other people. Like, we're booked every weekend.
Right. And on that note, we do have some upcoming events.
Yes, let's hear about these events.
So, coming up,
We got one not this weekend. Well, the weekend of the 17th. It is
January 17th.
January 17th, Sunday.
What are we doing?
we will be ice fishing on Steamboat Lake, which is one of the Goldwater lakes of Colorado.
For listeners that don't know what that means, what is Goldwater Lakes,
Gold medal lake.
Gold medal lake, so it means good quality fish. Yeah.
Yeah, so it basically means the amount of fish within one, square meter? Or probably...
Certain area, yeah.
It's based on the amount of fish and the quality of the fish. So last year when we went out, I ended up catching a football of a rainbow. It was amazing. The biggest fish I've ever caught.
Yeah.
To this
beautiful.
day still.
Absolutely beautiful.
On the ice, yeah.
In general. Yeah.
But were you on the ice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was so fun.
Well, that
Steamboat
was
Lake
a
is
cool
fun.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of awesome girls out there last year, and
Everybody's cheering everybody on.
totally.
And
A lot of newbies.
Yeah,
And it was fun.
newbies, moms with kids.
Yeah, it's cool because this event, Colorado Parks and Wildlife, a lot of their state parks have free ice fishing gear rentals, and I feel like a lot of people don't know that. So for those of you listening, if you're in Colorado and you're at a state park that has good ice, talk to the parks office, see if they have a rod and an auger you can borrow for free. It's all free, and they have gear, like jigs and bait and everything. So
Nice. I did not know that.
Kirsten, yeah, see, exactly. A lot of people don't know that. And Kirsten she's a park ranger up at Steamboat in Pearl Lake. She helped us last year and provided us with all the gear, gave us an ice safety talk, and helped us drill some holes, hung out with us for a while on the ice, and it was awesome. And but yeah, Colorado Parks and Wildlife, they're all about getting people out there. So if you're wanting to get into ice fishing and you're wanting to learn more, just talk to them. Like, if you're not in the Steamboat area, that's a great way to start.
So this event at Steamboat Lake, will there be all the gear there?
Yeah.
Everything's going to be provided. You just show up.
Just show up.
Showed up.
You'll
What's
actually
the
get an
test?
RSVP, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Please RSVP so we know how many rods we need, just in
Right.
case we max out CPW's stash.
Right.
We do have a stash of our own.
Right. That and so that we make sure we get all the right information to you, and we have your contact, and that way we
Yeah.
just know what to expect. So RSVP, please, if you want to
Yes.
join us.
And you can do that right on our website. Just go to RockyMountainSportswomen.com/events. And you can see all of the upcoming events. In addition to our ice fishing on January 17th, we also have a snowshoe hike on Saturday, February 6th. And that's going to be up on Buff Pass. So we will have rentals provided to us. So if you can please RSVP for that and let us know if you need snowshoes or not. We actually have free rentals provided for us from Straight Line. So we do need your RSVP, so we have a rental for you.
Right.
But we did that last year up on top of Rabbit Ears Pass, and it was so fun. We had such a fun group of women.
We met some really cool girls that trip.
Yeah, so even if you're not into hunting and fishing, but you just want to get out in the outdoors with other women, come. It's, we want you there. It's so much fun. We just...
and I feel like events like that, and we've done, the Circle hike in the past, and we like to do events that aren't necessarily focused on hunting and fishing, because I feel like a part of our mission is not only to help create more hunters and fishers, but to also kind of change the face of it, because, like, for me, for example, that... Like, I didn't know anything about hunting. I was never against it, but I always just had this, what's the word? Stigma.
Misconception?
A misconception of hunters.
Yes.
I always assumed they were the hillbilly rednecks of Western North Carolina.
Kill possums.
Right, totally.
Nothing against that, as long as you eat them.
I think it's just more of I think part of our mission is more of an awareness. Like, there's a lot of haters out there on social media, especially about, like, all they see is that dead animal in the photo. They don't see the passion, and they don't see the effort, and they don't see the skill that it actually takes to get to that point. So we like to share that with, some of the girls that come on our snowshoe hikes that are not interested in hunting or fishing, but just want to be outside, and that can help us kind of provide that positive influence of hunting in our society.
Bringing awareness of the conservation and the
and just getting to know us as people, rather than hunters.
Right.
So where I met you ladies.
Yeah.
It was great, and I met a bunch of other awesome ladies that don't hunt, but, like, came out, and we had a good day out in the snow.
And they support what we're doing, I think it's cool.
It's great. New friends and
some fresh air.
Yeah. Exactly.
So that is Saturday, February 6th, and again, RSVP online. RockyMountainSportswomen.com/events.
Do they need to let you know, obviously, if they need a pair of snowshoes?
Yes. Yeah, there's an option in the RSVP box that they can hit yes or no if they have snowshoes. And then in March we have another ice fishing clinic coming up, and that one's at Stagecoach State Park, just outside Steamboat here as well. It's kind of like our home turf. That's where I live down near that area, so fish that spot a lot, and it's super fun. And that's where we hosted our very first ice fishing clinic ever, and it was great. It was like on the very last day we possibly could have.
So
due
slushy
to the ice.
and warm.
It was slushy. It was nice and warm and sunny.
Sunny out.
And we caught some fish. It was cool.
And a crayfish.
Yeah, you caught a crayfish. That was hilarious.
Only thing I caught all day.
So that will be Sunday, March 14th. So again, you can RSVP. So if you can't make it to the Steamboat Lake one, definitely sign up for the Stagecoach State Park. That one's going to be fun too. Bring the kids, and bring your happy smiles, and that's about all you need.
We'll welcome you on.
Yeah.
And then we have some other stuff too that we're in the works to kind of look forward to in the spring. If you want to keep up to date with our events, we're very active on Instagram and Facebook, and always announce our events on there. But you can also sign up for our newsletter on our website. We try to kind of give our newsletter list people pretty good heads up on these events. But yeah, we have some spring events that are kind of in the works that we'd like to get going. We're going to try and do a turkey clinic. We had a very successful waterfowl virtual clinic a month ago, and so we'd like to do a turkey hunting clinic just like that, and then try and potentially plan a Rocky Mountain Sportswomen trip as well. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
We're not releasing any details.
Yes. No details yet.
No details.
But I will tell you,
announced,
we are very passionate about turkey hunting.
Yes, turkeys are where Jamie and I both started, so we love it. We love some turkeys.
I love hunting some turkeys.
Yeah, and Colorado's different, People don't realize that Colorado turkey hunting is actually
a lot of fun and very challenging.
Yes,
and very addicting.
Yes.
Very addicting. Yes. I was just talking with a friend the other day about that, how turkey hunting is a lot like elk hunting.
Totally.
Early season when it's hot, and it's just like you work so hard, and then one move and the turkey busts you. You work so hard, and then the wind shifts and the elk's gone.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But
I think my favorite part about it is the communication with the turkeys. It's,
the verbal connection.
Yes. Totally. How you almost have to learn to speak turkey.
Totally. Totally. And it's just like waking up. Yeah. And like what you were saying earlier, I wanted to jump in, but I wanted you to finish your story. Turkey hunting, before I actually had a gun in my hand turkey hunting, the year before I walked around with Jesse in Missouri, it's actually right when we found out we were pregnant. I went on a little turkey hunt with him and his buddy, and just to tag along, it was my very first time actually hunting. And it was awesome. Like, I watched possums crawl up in the tree for the day, and like watched, just like watched the world awaken. And then all the dew, and it's just so green and lush in Missouri, and then you hear off in the distance, and it's just like something about that gobble. It's just, it gets you going. So we love turkeys. Turkeys are coming up soon. We're excited.
Lots of turkeys.
We're also looking into doing more archery clinics. We have a girl, Callie, who has officially been certified to instruct USA archery
Level 1
clinics.
instructor.
So we're going to team up with her and put together some archery clinics starting this spring and summer, and get ready for archery season. We're going to do some casual shooting as well this spring. But as far as like a structured clinic goes, we're going to try and get that going this spring. And then also we had a fly tying event 2 springs ago, and it was awesome. We had a blast. Teamed up with Storm Peak Brewing here in Steamboat. So we'd like to do another fly tying event, whether that be like a virtual thing or an in-person, depending on COVID, we'd like to do something like that too, to kind of kick off fly fishing season again. I mean, I know a lot of people fly fish in the winter, but there's a lot of other things going on too.
So those are just at the top of our list, top of our minds, because again, we're very passionate about turkeys. But there are a lot of events that we have in mind and that we're planning that are going to be on the books for 2021. So again, go online, sign up for our email list, follow us on Instagram.
Any questions or anything people have too, reach out.
Yeah,
shoot
please
us a message.
Let us know.
Please do. We're always interested to hear anyone's ideas, or someone's new to the area, reach out to us. And we're always happy to take people out and meet new chicks that just want to get outside and hang out with other cool chicks.
Yeah, let's get after it. We'll be ice fishing all winter. So
literally all winter.
Yeah.
It's only a little bit of time left for duck season.
We can make our holes 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
That's the thing about ice fishing. It's like when we were talking to Kirsten about it a couple months ago. She talked with her people, and they said, it's a socially distanced thing as it is.
Absolutely.
So why wouldn't we get people outside instead of cooped up at home?
Get out there.
If there was anyone out there that was looking, like especially women, obviously, that were looking to get into hunting, but were intimidated by the sport, as we know, it's a male-dominant sport, and it can be very intimidating, especially if you didn't grow up surrounded, with a family of hunters or whatnot. What would you tell them? Like, what's one thing that you would tell somebody that was looking to get into hunting or fishing, from Rocky Mountain Sportswomen's view of welcoming them in? What would be one thing that you would...
It's definitely intimidating.
It is.
But just get out there. Try it. You are gonna fail. You're gonna go ice fishing. You're not gonna pull a fish out of the ice. You're gonna go fly fishing. You're not gonna pull a fish out of the water.
You're gonna get tangled.
You're gonna go hunting. You're gonna go hunting, and you're gonna find yourself in a whole lot of downfall.
Yeah, no else.
No else.
Too many hunters
Struggling through downfall.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're hungry. You're ran out of water. Like, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. You're gonna fail. But it's like every time you learn something, and just getting out there and doing it, you're going to learn a little bit more every single time, and you're going to build that knowledge base. We all started from the beginning. We all started from ground zero, whether we had somebody or we didn't.
Right.
Just get out there and try it.
Yeah, and one thing too I'd like to say is that Jamie and we're still in the very beginning of our hunting life. Like, we both are learning from the beginning still. Like, for me, this was my second archery season, ever. And I feel like I've learned so much, and a lot of people will praise everything that I'm doing and are like saying, you're doing such a good job, you know, you're just such a badass. And I'm like, thanks, but that's because I'm literally just spending the time being out there. Like, we do a lot of things together, you know, as Rocky Mountain Sportswomen, but the majority of my hunting has been solo. Like, I mean, I know a lot of people might have a harder time with that because of their confidence and knowledge of being out in the woods, maybe by themselves. It is scary. But
A lot of noises out there.
I had a lot of background in being out in the woods prior to getting into hunting. And so I feel like I was fortunate enough to already have that, to have the confidence to go out by myself. But at the same time, it's just like, it's a whole new thing. You're stalking. Like, you could stumble upon a bear around the next bush and not even know it, you know? And
But again, that's where I feel the community of Rocky Mountain Sportswomen has become so important in my life and in several
have that
others.
encouragement.
We're all different. We're all from different backgrounds. We all have different knowledge.
Totally.
But we're all there for each other to learn alongside each other and from each other. And
whether it's through text messages or being right next to each other.
Right, exactly.
Totally.
Or, you know, you come home from the hunt and you call them and you're like, hey, this happened today.
Absolutely.
What would you do? Or like, hey, I just need to tell somebody what happened to me today. It was the craziest thing,
For
you know?
sure.
And I think that's, you know, just reach out to other hunters. I think it's kind of intimidating, you know, it's just kind of intimidating in general. People who hunt could have this stigma of being intimidating people.
Right.
We're not.
Yeah.
Reach out to us.
Right.
Reach out to us.
Yeah, and you know, and I think for those who might not be in our area or even Colorado, if you're listening from like Tennessee or something, you know, like, I think a great way to I mean, it's weird to say, but like Instagram is a huge tool for, like, we met our girls, Erin and Annie, who we did our duck hunt with because of Instagram. Like, they were basically our guides that weekend, right? Like, I felt that way. I mean, they had never been to the area, of course.
And
But
I've
they
done a lot of duck hunting.
Right.
Like,
And it was just, it was cool because I feel like we probably wouldn't have done that hunt if we hadn't, like,
Have met them through
had
social
talked
media.
about it. And we, like, I'd never met Erin before, and we talked for like a year and a half through Instagram. And you know, look up some of those girls in your local area and don't be afraid to reach out. And or even going to your local fly shop, like if you're trying to get into fly fishing. Like, I know Steamboat Fly Fisher here, they're super awesome about telling you what flies are hitting right now, like what would you suggest for this area, and they're super into helping people out. So I think, you know, there's more of just an intimidation on the beginner when they just have to break that barrier and just ask, you know, ask for help.
Yep.
don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah.
Get out there to it, you know?
Totally.
Get out there as well.
There's never
And then if
stupid
you're
questions.
a nerd like me and Jamie, you're going to read books on it. You're going to listen to podcasts. You're going to watch endless videos on all this
How to
stuff.
tie a fly.
YouTube University
Yes.
has taught me a lot.
Yes, YouTube is fantastic for
Yes.
this. And it's motivating. It kind of gets you in that mode. Like, Jesse and I are watching elk hunting videos year round. Like, sometimes I have to
Keeping
tell
the
them to give
stoke
it a
up.
break.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, you just gotta get out there. You have to put in the time. No matter if you have the friends to do it with or not, either way, you're gonna have to put in the time.
Yeah. I think the conversations we've had tonight puts a big light on what Rocky Mountain Sportswoman really is. And if you have listened to this episode and you feel motivated all of a sudden, like, run with it, go with it, you know, whether or not you contact Rocky Mountain Sportswoman or not. But do know that we are here, and I'm super stoked for 2021. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
it's gonna be
stoked too. I think we have a lot coming ahead of us and lots of fun hunting seasons coming up and fly fishing.
Yeah. It's great to learn alongside women and to, like, not feel pressure and to just know that these women are learning too. We're trying to better ourselves, not only as hunters and fishers and gatherers, but as human beings, and surrounding ourselves with like-minded women. And so,
To all the men out there,
No hate.
no hate.
I
But
really,
you can't come to our events.
Right, sorry, you
Sorry,
can't come.
you can't come to our events.
But I really do pray that some man out there starts a Rocky Mountain Sportsman, because I think that it is equally as needed.
Yes, exactly.
But still,
Yeah.
sorry you can't come.
For adult men who have never... Yeah, I agree. You know, there's a lot of men out there who would like to get into hunting, but
yeah.
don't have that mentor or don't have that.
Right.
And another note too, check out your local wildlife office. You know, like Colorado Parks and Wildlife, they have programs. They have, you know, free clinics, and they do tons of stuff. And I'm sure other states do the same.
Check out Backcountry Hunters and Anglers.
Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, an organization that kind of motivated me to get Rocky Mountain Sportswomen off the ground, and I've been connected with them since. And yeah, they do great events and clinics as well. And yeah, we're not the only ones out there, you know. And there's some groups out there, and just do some research, check it out.
So obviously people can find you ladies at Rocky Mountain Sportswomen, and then your Instagram is the same, correct?
Yep.
Rocky Mountain Sportswomen.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep, and then we have a website. We have some wild game recipes on there and some stories, some like hunting stories, and and if you're interested in coming to one of our events, check out our event recap blog. We try our hardest to recap each event. It is hard to do with everything that we've got going on, but we have put together some really fun blogs with some great photos of our events and like our chunky trout fly fishing trips. And
if you just want to support us, a great way to support us is by buying merch. We have beanies, hats, pins, stickers, t-shirts, long sleeve t-shirts. They're so comfortable. So buy some merch. RockyMountainSportswomen.com.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we got Dreya's birthday coming up. So Dreya has been super gracious, and we're so excited to have Dreya on the team. She's very passionate about hunting and us and just what we've got going on. So it's her birthday, and she put together a Rocky Mountain Sportswomen fundraiser, which is awesome. We really appreciate that, Dreya. I think it's very, very sweet and open-hearted of you to do that. And so it's through Facebook. But you can also, I guess you could also just go to the website and do it. But it's kind of cool to see it on Facebook, to see the growth of it. And so yeah, I've shared it on the Facebook page. I think I'm going to pin it to the top to make it like an announcement too. And when's your birthday? It's
January 29th. So if y'all are feeling generous, it's the big 3-0 this year. So for my birthday, I want all the donations to go to Rocky Mountain Sportswomen.
Doing a big mule deer hunt for your birthday too.
I am. I'm going to Arizona to hunt some mule deer, maybe shoot a Q's deer, maybe shoot a couple hogs. Yeah, so the tag there is good for either mule deer or Q's deer, and then you can shoot javelinas.
Wow.
It's also a year-long tag, so if I'm not successful in January, there are a couple other seasons where I can travel back,
so
which is great.
The offer to tag along still good?
Yeah, you coming? 30th birthday in the desert at Spike Camp. Who knows where?
That's cool.
Who knows what shenanigans we'll get into?
Maybe packing out some deer. Who knows? But I figure a great way to ring in 30. And like I said, if you're feeling generous, I put together a donation fundraiser. And if you're feeling like you want to donate, you can go and donate, and all proceeds go to Rocky Mountain Sportswomen. Yeah. Not to my Arizona hunt. Well, ladies, it's been lovely. Any lasting thoughts you want to throw out there before we close her down?
I don't know. I don't think so. I feel like we covered a lot.
Yeah. Just get out there.
Get out there.
Yeah.
Try it. That's what it is.
Yeah. Thank you, Dray.
Yep.
Thanks, Dray.